Okay, so I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I've kind of been putting it off. I wanted to do kind of a 1-year recap from my journey. I guess it's been about a year since I made my first story of transformation video, but it's been a little longer than that since I had my initial healing. And there's some reason behind that. I guess you could say it's because it is my old self, and looking back and reflecting on the past year is actually something I kind of don't want to do. I mean, I do, but I don't. It's my past and I'm done with it. And that in itself is kind of cool. So many of you watching have probably seen my story of transformation video. If you haven't, I'll do a just brief little recap. I went to my first Dispenza retreat in June of 2022. And I wasn't into Dr. Joe. My husband had some transformations a little bit, and so I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess let's go. Let's see if we can get rid of some of these health issues I have. I didn't believe in it. But then when I got to the event, I was able to heal myself pretty much instantly during a walking meditation. Then I had some healings done that kind of gave me that extra little boost. The things that I used to have were irritable bowel, Lyme disease, mold illness, breast lumps. And see, this is something I have trouble with, is people are asking me, well, what was wrong with you? And sometimes I'm like, it's like such an old version of me, I don't even remember, and I want to forget it. I don't care about that person anymore. I'm past that. I'm over that. So those are the major things that I was able to heal. And in my video, it's funny, I just watched it about 2 weeks ago. I was talking about I was healed about 70%, and I still look back and said, yeah, it was probably about 70%. Not everything was perfect. But when I watched my video, I was like, wow, I still didn't believe in my healing. I kept saying, I have this, I have that, I have these pains. I can't wait until I'm all better. And so I was still not really truly believing that I was healed. And I think a lot of people that have healings or get some kind of progress forward in doing this work, they have that attitude. Well, what happened to my healing? Where did it go? It didn't work. It didn't stick. Well, you need to reflect back and see why it didn't, because I do have to admit myself that it was great for like 3 weeks, but there was a few little things that slowly started coming back, and I started doubting my healing. I'm like, what's going on? And I know he reminds you that, you know, you can fall back into your old self. He's talked about how people heal themselves of cancer, and then the cancer comes back. Then they heal themselves, it comes back. And it's kind of a back and forth thing. And it's just, how much are you willing to let go of that old person, that old self? And so I think just, I was kind of on a high afterwards, like, this is amazing. And I connected with Source. And so I was like on this journey of like, oh my goodness, this is so incredible. And then it was like slowly, it was like my life kind of started happening, and just like, you know, you get back into your old ways. And it's like, well, how do you prevent that when you're still doing the same thing every day? And I think it's hard for everybody. I don't know how many people have like healed themselves and not had even just like a little twinge of like, oh shoot, my symptoms are starting to return, even just a little bit. So that just means your old self. You know, it's like sometimes you hear 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I think that is for a lot of people. So I looked back and reflected on that, and I'm excited because, you know, I can tell you now though, even though I got a little bit of those symptoms back, they slowly over time just kind of gone away. There was things I was working on, like my brain fog was something that it went away right away with my healing, and it slowly crept back in. And that was like kind of up and hill, up and down, up and down, up and down. And now I would say, I even hate to say that maybe 10% of the time I get it, because I don't even want to say that, because then that makes me feel like I'm not healed, because it's almost like saying, okay, I didn't heal it. I did heal it. But when I had it like 99% of the time a long time ago, that's nothing, you know? It's like these people that have gotten their sight back, or they're starting to walk. It takes them time to still, they're not seeing 100% clear. They're not running down the street right away. Some of them are, because they got to work those muscles and stuff back up. It's you get this boost. Some of you get a boost, and then you kind of keep getting more and more and more the more you believe in your healing and in your future and letting go of that old self. And I think that was a good reminder for me is if I had gotten my healing 100% and it just stayed, I probably wouldn't continue on this journey. I wouldn't have continued to meditate and to better myself and learn how to manifest and all these things. I would have been like, cool, I'm healed. Let's move on. And so I think that this is just a constant journey to better ourselves, even if you're 100% healed. The one thing I have not 100% healed, and I hate actually even saying that right now, because I think now maybe it has, is my gallbladder. When I was healed, and I was just like, oh my goodness, the world is my oyster. It's just like I could do anything. I was like, I'm going to grow my gallbladder back. And then I went to an event, and I was sitting in the front row, and Dr. Joe had walked right up. You know, no such thing as coincidence. He walked right up. He was standing right in front of us, and he had just found out about this woman regrowing her thyroid, and he was standing right in front of me, and I was like, I looked at my husband, I was like, oh my gosh. So it is possible. It is. So it helped give me that little boost. And I've been working on that, and I've had a lot of little things showing me signs that it's happening. Where should I start on that? I'm going to wait to make a video once I know for a fact that it's back. I don't know if you want to say I manifested this or I saw the future or something, but I had seen myself many times in my meditation giving my testimony on stage. And I was at some event, and all of a sudden they say, Dr. Joe wants you to go on stage, and I'm like, what? I mean, this was like 8 months after I had my healing. I guess he had overheard me talking about my healing to somebody else, and he wanted me to give my testimony on stage. And so I went up on stage and I gave my testimony, and it was a very interesting thing that happened, because afterwards, you wouldn't believe how many people came up to me and were just like, oh my goodness, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going through the same thing. You inspired me. I was crying, just all these different things. And I was just like, wow. You know, the people that went on stage before me, this boy got his hearing back. This man lost his voice and he started talking. You know, it's like, how do I top that? But it helps so many different people in so many different ways. You don't realize how much it's helping other people. But something that was a struggle for me was it was actually kind of hard to give my testimony. I was reliving that moment that I was healed, because this was like April, and then June is when I had my healing. So it's like reliving that. I was like putting myself back in the past and being that person to relive it, to tell it. And I didn't want to tell that story anymore. It was like, I almost felt like that's the last time. I'm done telling that story. That's the old me. I don't even want to tell it anymore. And after that event, I kind of went through a dark night of the soul. It's almost like I was like putting that person up on the shelf. She's done. And then I was like, now what? I made a video about that too, about the dark night of the soul, because that was a very hard time for me to go through. But now I can reflect on that and say, I was just putting that, it was like the last step to put that old self away that was sick and whatever. And so here I am trying to find my new self. And I wouldn't say I found her, I just became her. So if I reflect on the last year, aside from just the big health issues that went away, I don't think I mentioned at the beginning autoimmune. I had autoimmune markers way up here and they just disappeared. Lyme disease, it's not on there. The one thing that I struggled with every time I went was my white blood cell count. It was always high. Even though I didn't have the autoimmune, the white blood cell count was high, and that shows a little bit of sign of autoimmune. And I actually haven't been to the doctor, I don't know, 6 months or something, but last I checked, it finally came down, and I was like so celebratory. I was like, yes, my white blood cell count is going down. You know, and it was just wonderful to see that kind of stuff. The liver markers, not very high, but I have a feeling that's because of the whole gallbladder thing going on. And going on the gallbladder thing, I don't know if I want to tell you a whole story. I'll save that for another time. But just recently, I got a chance to be a Healy again, and something happened. On one of them, I had, it's hard to even describe what happened. I was getting pulled up into a sitting position, and I kept resisting, and I couldn't go back down. And then when I finally was able to go back down, I don't even know how to describe it, but this hole came in the floor underneath me. It was like, it was weird. It's like I couldn't feel, it almost felt like there was a vortex, like a black hole or something in the ground underneath me. And then all this heat started going into my body and stuff. And after that, I felt good, and I was walking back to my room, and all of a sudden I had to stop. I got this intense pain in 2 spots in my back. And here I've got the mindset, well, I'm trying to grow my gallbladder back, but the gallbladder isn't in 2 spots on my back. So I was like, whatever, I'll take it. The pain, it's doing something, something's moving, whatever. The next day was when I had some kind of something go on with my gallbladder, because it was kind of the same issues where I was getting pulled up and stuff, and the healing was getting close to being over, and I laid down and I was like, okay, I'm fine, whatever. Nothing huge, big happened. I mean, well, getting pulled up, I guess, was kind of huge, but the same thing had happened the day before. So I just started, I've been saying this thing in my head, a little mantra, I guess, if you want to say, about my gallbladder. And I said it 3 times, and after that I had some kind of release, and something took over my body. I don't know, I flipped over. Somehow my body flipped over on the stomach, and I was like getting, like my whole body was like getting lifted and smacked. I don't know what was going on, but I had a lot of stuff going on in the gallbladder area, and I feel more confident now. I know I shouldn't be saying that it's not there yet, but I'm in my head, I'm like, it's there, it's there. I'm like more convinced than ever it is there, and I'm super excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm not going to say anything negative, so I'm just going to stop there. But reflecting back on that, that was just a little while ago, a few days ago, or a week ago, or whatever. I think my adrenals were fixed, because that's not really something I have had measured, I guess you could say. I had severe adrenal fatigue back in 2019, and I was able to, I don't want to say overcome it, but I would wake up, go get breakfast ready, 15 minutes later, I was so weak I couldn't walk. I was on the couch. It was horrible. And I overcame that to where I was functional, back to old me, I guess you could say. But I've had several like energy practitioners or whatever, like they do energy readings on your body and stuff, and they're like, every single one of them have told me my adrenals are weak. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I got kids, whatever. But this time, I really think that the adrenals, or I shouldn't say think, the adrenals got healed. Because after that event, I went and climbed a freaking mountain. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just, like, I usually wake up every morning and I'm just kind of groggy, and then at night I'm like, I'm tired. And I just told my husband last night, I was like, usually by 9 o'clock I'm like, oh, I'm so ready for bed. I want to go to bed. Can't wait to go to bed. But last night I was like, dude, the past few days I've just been like, I don't want to go to bed. I have so much I want to do. I'm not even tired. I'm waking up early and I'm not tired. And the whole mountain climbing thing was crazy. I mean, we were like, oh, let's just go on a hike. And so we're like, sure. And we climbed, and what we thought to the top of the mountain, we just kept going, climbed to what we thought was the top of the mountain. And we get there and we're like, oh crap, it's not. And we're like, okay, well, we'll just find our way back down. But they were like, no, let's go to the top. Let's see how far we go. Like, sure. I wasn't tired. I wasn't achy. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't complaining. I wasn't hot. I wasn't hungry. You know, old me would have just been, you know, that would have been me. I had no serious doubt in my mind. My husband was even like, as I was watching you climb, I was worried you're going to twist your ankle and then you're going to start sliding down the mountain or something crazy. And I was like, let's go, let's do it. And so 4 hours later, we climbed 2,000, I think 500 feet to the top of the mountain. And it was called Eagle's Nest in Vail. And then it was just awesome accomplishment. And we were able, we looked on a map to see, okay, well, once we get up there, how are we going to get down? But we saw there was a gondola. We saw it off in the distance moving down the mountain. So we're like, okay, let's go up there. So we went and we were able to go down. And later on, we found out it was $55 to ride it up. But but going down was free because they assumed you had wrote it up. So it was kind of cool. But that was a big accomplishment for me there. I mean, throughout the last year, there's been so many changes in me. It's just, I'll just kind of notice things. I'm like, oh yeah, that's different. Oh yeah, that's different. That's different. That's different. That's so cool. That's so wonderful. I sleep better. I look and I feel younger. My husband and I have even done telomere tests to prove that I went from like, I don't know, like 48 years old to like 26. I don't know. We said we're going to do a video on that, but I don't know. And that was several months ago that last time I had that done. I've even changed my wardrobe, and actually throughout the year I've changed it several times. I put on something and I was just like, oh, I can't wear it anymore because it just doesn't feel like me. That's the old me. I got to put that person away. I can't wear that. Brighter colors. I can't wear jeans. I was a jeans and t-shirt girl. Now it's like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I can't wear black. I can't wear dark blue. It's kind of cool. I feel like this inside, so I want clothes that express that on the outside. I'm not taking any more supplements. I really stopped taking those after my first event. You know, every now and then people are like, oh, you should take this for your liver or that, and I take them and I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need them. My stomach's been flat. That went away. My bloating, that went away right away. That was one of the things I kind of struggled with. It kind of on and off. I'm like, why is my bloating coming back? And it was interesting. We just saw the man that had lost his voice. And he got it back. He's been doing some updates and sending them to Dr. Joe's team. And it's like every time he's like, oh, I just thought it was, you know, every time it keeps getting better and better. And something that he said that really kind of helped me is he noticed that every morning he would do a meditation and he could function. I guess he works construction or something. He could function and he could talk to other people. And he said that the days that he skipped his meditation, then he couldn't really talk. It was like a maintenance thing that he had to do every single day. And so I have not missed a day since my healing in June. And so it's like I kind of was frustrated at times when I felt like few little things were coming back. And I'm like, well, you know, it is a maintenance. By meditating every single day, I am maintaining my healing, but I'm also moving forward. And the times when I felt like I was moving backwards are probably the times when I was like, oh, what are the meditations doing? Are they working? Oh, you know, I'm so tired. I'm so stressed. Just other things have kind of pulled me backwards a little bit. But you've got to keep that maintenance. And then you keep getting, sometimes I'll get these big pushes forward. You know, it might be a slow little trickle, slow little back, slow, but sometimes I'll get these big jumps forward. And I love that. And that helped me motivate me more. And I'm going to help remember that in those times where, again, I kind of feel like, okay, I got to meditate. You know, I hate when I go through little phases. I'm sure a lot of you have been like, okay, I got to meditate. It's almost like it's a hassle. That shouldn't be the issue. It shouldn't be an issue to meditate. Why are you meditating? Make sure you set attention about why you're meditating. Even if it's just to say, I want to have a happy day. You know, I want to relax. Whatever happens to be, just do that. One thing that's awesome, too, is I can eat anything I want now. And I've been on so many freaking stupid diets, and they work, but, you know, I'd feel better, but they wouldn't heal me. And then, you know, you go to social events, and you're like, oh, crap, I can't eat anything here. And then I'd go to restaurants, and I'm like, well, I have, like, maybe 1 or 2 things I can eat on the menu. And I just got tired of doing all that and figuring all that out. And there was still a few things for a while I was scared to eat. Pizza was one of them, because I remember pizza, ooh, it made me miserable. The joint pain and the bloating, and oh, I just felt so awful eating pizza. And I can't remember when it was, several months ago or whatever, I was like, you know what? I'm just eating a big old slice of pizza. And I ate it, and it felt great. And not the gluten-free kind. Real pizza, real bread, real yeast, real crust. I ate a whole piece, and I was like, this is awesome. And so now I can eat pizza regularly. It's funny, I've actually kind of grown accustomed to the flavor of the gluten-free, so I'll sometimes get the gluten-free, but sometimes I'll see the good ooey gooey pizza with the dairy on there and the crust, and I'm like, yeah, and I can eat it. The biggest thing, I think, on top of that one was popcorn. My kids always make popcorn, and it smells so good, and yeah, I got to the point to where I'm like, no thank you, no popcorn. The popcorn, when I used to eat it, it felt like it was just like tearing my insides up. It was like I could feel it just going through my intestines. And so one day I just go and I'm like, I can eat this. And I just started eating and eating and eating. And then I've done it several times. Now when my kids make popcorn, I eat it. Now I don't just like scarf it, but I'm like, I can eat it And there's no repercussions, none at all, and it's so amazing. And going to my gallbladder, custard, I haven't had that since 2008, because that's how I figured out I had a gallbladder problem, is anytime I ate custard, it gave me a gallbladder attack, horrible gallbladder attack. And we went to go get ice cream recently, and the kids usually get the dairy-free. Some of them can eat dairy now. And one of them was like, I want custard. And I'm like, oh, that's real rich. I don't know if you guys can handle that. I was like, yeah, go ahead. I was like telling myself, you can't handle it. And I was like, no, they say they can handle it. They can handle it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat some. And I was eating. I was like, oh, this is so good. Because I was about to eat it. And I'm like, I hesitated because I was like, that's the gallbladder thing. I'm like, whatever. I'm going to eat it because I've got my gallbladder back, right? So I just ate it. No problems, whatever. And that was a really big accomplishment for me. What are some other things? I'm no longer shy. I was the woman that just kind of stood off in the corner and observed everybody, had their head down, arms crossed. And, you know, now I'm just like, I love being outgoing and I love socializing. I'm like, why was I so, I don't know, just closed up? It's just, it's probably just all this stuff that got trapped inside me over the years and just made me more and more shy and closed in and scared, fearful, whatever. That's another thing, fears. I believe I've overcome my fear of heights. I haven't really tested it. I just know that several times I've been places where I'm fearful of that. We did a zip line at a hotel one time. This was after I started the Dr. Joe stuff, but yeah, just to let you know, I was shaking at the knees, and by the time I got to the ground, I could barely walk because I was just so weak. But then I remember I went to an event. We were up on the 8th floor, had a balcony, and my husband's like, oh, come out, look. And I kind of stood at the doorway, and I'm like, yeah, okay, looks great, everything. By the end of the event, I was leaning on the railing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, do you see me? I'm like right here on the edge, and I'm looking down, I'm looking out, and there was no fear inside of me. That fear has... Sorry, that was my husband. He's working on the car. There was this fear inside of me that like kept going up and down, up and down, up and down. And then recently on the gondola, there was no fear in me. I mean, I guess I maybe felt like roller coasters. I don't have a fear of roller coasters, but it's the height, the being off the ground and the fear of falling or something. I don't know what it is. So I believe I've overcome that. There's just been all these like little things that have just kind of gone away. And I just feel happier and motivated and I don't know how to describe it, but it's just been an amazing journey. And in just a year's time, if all of this has happened, oh, I just got, wow, my heart was just like open on that. I can't imagine what else the future will bring. Just in this little bit that's, wow. I guess it just hit me. I don't know that I have much else to say, but if you're struggling, if you're not getting what you want in life, quit fighting it and just let go of it, because it's amazing what's on the other side. That's beautiful, and I just can't imagine what else is out there, and I'm so excited. Oh my goodness, there's so much freaking stuff out there that we don't know about. And just when I think that my meditations can't get any better, and my experiences can't be any better, I'm like, oh gosh, what can top that? Then I have another incredible experience and another realization, and my eyes open to other stuff, and it's beautiful. And I think we're here to experience that and more. There's so much out there that we're unaware of, and it's amazing. So hopefully I've given you some words of encouragement and hope, and I give you lots of love, because the love in this community, you may not feel loved, but everyone out there, everyone has the love inside of them, but it's the world that's keeping it from blossoming. I mean, seriously, just let go of it all. That's all I can tell you. I know it's hard. Just let it all go, because, man, don't waste your life hating on yourself, hating on the world. It's not worth it. Good grief. I mean, yeah, it was me. I was hating myself. That's another thing, is I talked to my higher self recently. I know you can call that crazy, but I've started realizing that there's me that's controlling me. And they say that in order for me to get all of what I want, I just need to believe. I said, how do I do that? Love myself. How do I do that? Forgive. So I need to forgive myself. For what? I don't know, but it's something I will definitely work on. And we all need to work on ourselves. And no, we're never going to be perfect. Well, I shouldn't say that. We can be perfect. We strive to be perfect, but don't. That was me. I was always a perfectionist. I gotta be perfect, gotta be perfect. You can strive for perfection. Put perfections in the universe's eyes, not in your own eyes. Like, oh, I need a perfect body, perfect job, perfect husband, perfect life. That's not perfection. Perfection within. Perfection in the way we were meant to be. That's the perfection that I strive for. Thank you for watching. Love you guys very, very much. Very much love you.